From eTown Hall in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it's eTown. Here comes part 2 of our 35th anniversary special with music from artists including Joan Baez, John Prine, Brandi Carlile, and more. Plus conversations with Jane Goodall and astronauts in space. I'm Helen Forster. Right now, here's our host, Nick Forster.
Thank you, Helen. Welcome, everybody. This is part 2 of our celebration of 35 years of eTown on the radio. I know that these shows are not necessarily cohesive musically because we covered so much ground, and that is going to continue today. We're going to actually have a lot of different styles of music, songs from different kinds of artists and from different eras, but we're going to give you just a taste, a little sampling of what's in the eTown archives that represents the 35 years of us being on the radio. We're starting out with a song from James Taylor. He and Keb Mo came to Colorado to celebrate eTown's 15th anniversary back in 2006. What I remember about this show is that James had originally planned to bring his band, and then a couple of days before the show, he let us know that he was just going to come by himself, which was both a great opportunity and a little tiny bit terrifying for us. But the house band got together, the eTowns got together, and we added one more keyboard player, and we added James's daughter, Sally Taylor. And so she and Helen and I were the singers. It was really exciting. It was an incredible honor, and we're happy with the way the song turned out. We're going to hear a song from James in just a bit. Right after James Taylor, we're going to hear from a Colorado-based singer-songwriter, wonderful singer and writer, good friend of ours, Nathaniel Rateliff. And that's from his performance at eTown during the pandemic, and it was recorded in 2020. So let's get started. Here's James Taylor, live on stage at eTown.
Here's a tune called Riding on a Railroad. We've been riding all on a railroad, singing someone else's song, forever standing down by the crossroads. Take his side and stealth along. I've been sailing away up on a river to the sea. Maybe you and me can meet again, but we'll be riding all on a railroad, singing someone else's song. Sing along. From time to time I tire of the life that I've been leading, town to town, day by day. There's a man up here, he claims to have his hands upon the reins. There are chains upon his hands, and the band's been riding on the train. Been riding down on a railroad, singing someone else's song, forever standing down by the crossroad. Take your side and step along. We got been sailing away on a river to the sea. Maybe you and me can meet again. Oh, baby, riding all on a railroad, singing someone else's song. Oh, keep on riding. Singing someone else's song. ain't alright. The hardness in my head. Now close your eyes, spin around, say hard times that you could find it ain't the way that you want. But it's still alright. Late at night, you lay around wondering, counting all the lines. It ain't so funny now, say times are hard, you get this far, but it ain't the way that you want. I'll be damned if this old man don't start to counting his losses. But it's still alright. See, you learn a lot out there for how to scorch and burn. Gonna have to bury your friends, and then you'll find it gets worse. Standing out on a ledge with no way to get down, you start praying for wings to grow. Oh baby, just let go. Ain't alright, keep spinning out ahead. It was cold outside when I hit the ground, say I could sleep here, forget all the fear, baby, it would take time to grow. But maybe I don't know. Hey tonight, if you think about it, remembering all the times that you pointed out, say glass is clear, but all this fear starts leaving a mark. Idle hands, all that stands from your time in the dark. But it's still alright.
Wow, that was so beautiful. That was Nathaniel Rateliff, recorded just with the string quartet in eTown Hall with no audience during the lockdown in 2020. Okay, we'll move on. Up next, we've got two songs from the eTown archives. We're going to feature one song from the band Retrograss. It was basically kind of a folk and acoustic music supergroup. David Grissman, John Hartford, and Mike Seeger made a record, and they were sort of imagining themselves as playing contemporary songs in a more old-time way. But it was an incredible honor to have those guys on eTown. It happened to be pretty close to the time where John Hartford's cancer was impinging on his ability to perform. So they asked me to play guitar, and we're going to do a song that is an old Chuck Berry song, Retrograss style. But before that, the legendary singer Joan Baez, live on stage at eTown.
Seemed like only yesterday I left my mind behind, down in a gypsy cafe with a friend of mine, who sat with baby Hetty on her knee. spoke of things most uselessly. Praise in connection first was she. Oh, Kurt, that love is just a four-letter word. Outside a rattling storefront window, cats meow to the break of day. Me, I kept my mouth shut to you, I had no words to say. My experience was limited and underfed. You were rapping while I hid to the one who was the father of your kid. You probably didn't think I did, but I heard that love is just a four-letter word. Into my own game. In and out of lifetimes unmentionable by name. Searching for my double, looking for complete evaporation to the core. Though I tried and failed at finding any door, I must have thought that there was nothing more after. Then that love is just a four-letter word. Of tables turn. You probably not believe me if I told you all I've learned, and it is very, very hard indeed to hear line words like whatever, come please. I can't say nothing to you but repeat what I heard. That love is just a four-letter, love is just a four-letter, love is just a four-letter word. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is this Maybelline? All right. Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started out of doing them things you used to do. As I was a-motivating over the hill, I saw a Maybelline in a Coupe de Ville, Cadillac rolling on an open road, nothing out of running my V8 Ford, Cadillac doing about 95, bumper to bumper running side by side. A Maybelline, why can't you be true? Why can't you, Maybelline? Why can't you be true? You done started out of doing them things you used to do. Oh, Maybelline, I love the fact that they one of them little stubby Cadillacs like they got around here now. Big long deals with the fins on it, yeah, buddy. Oh, pick it right there, and you go, David Grizzly right here. Cadillac pulled to 104 and the Ford got hot, it wouldn't do no more. Sun got a cloudy and it started to rain, and I honked my horn for the passing lane. Rainwater blowing all over my hood, so it sure wasn't doing my motor no good. A Maybelline, why can't you be true? Yeah, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started out of doing them things you used to do. Well, now the motor cooled down and the heat went down, and that's when I heard that highway sound. A Cadillac looking like a ton of lead, 103 half a mile ahead. Cadillac looking like a sitting still, and I caught Maybelline at the sing this with me, Maybelline. Oh, Maybelline. I started out of doing them things, you'd clap some rhythm while old David plays the guitar. Yeah. Oh yeah, the king of the triplet there. That's just like the old preacher said. He said, I don't know if I'd have played that, son. Yeah, here's Mike Seeger to play it for you. Here we go. The motor cooled down and the heat went down, and that's when I heard that highway sound. Cadillac looking like a ton of lead, 103 a half a mile ahead. Cadillac looking like a sitting still, and I caught Maybelline at the top of the hill. Of Maybelline. Yeah, oh Maybelline. Yeah, you done started out of doing them things.
That was Retrograss, David Grisman, with the late Mike Seeger and the late John Hartford, legends of acoustic music from the eTown archives. We'll be back with more after a short break.
Your visit to eTown is made possible with support from the Sage Foundation, the Cielo Foundation, the Scintilla Foundation, the City of Boulder's Office of Arts and Culture, and our members, our citizens, and listeners like you. You're listening to eTown.
Welcome back. You are listening to eTown's 35-year celebration. We have been diving into the eTown archives for things that we think are both unique and interesting. This next segment really fits that category. In 2002, we had some friends help us set up a call with the astronauts in the International Space Station. We had to coordinate with NASA to make this line of communication happen directly, and I had a chat with the astronauts in the space station. Originally, I had hoped to have a jam session because they had some instruments with them, a keyboard and a guitar. I was imagining we could maybe play a little music. That didn't work out. But here comes my conversation with the astronauts in the International Space Station back in 2002.
eTown, this is Houston. Please call Alpha for a voice check.
Alpha, this is eTown. How do you hear me?
eTown, this is Alpha. We have you loud and clear. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. This is Commander Colonel Yuri Onufrienko and Flight Engineer Daniel Bursch, Flight Engineer Carl Walls. The first photograph that we saw that came from space of planet Earth, in a way, that image with no borders, only the natural systems, mountains, rivers, oceans, in a way that kind of created the environmental movement as we know it today. When you look down at the Earth now, does it change in any way your perception of the state of the planet, or does it make you more concerned for the health of the planet than you were before you saw that view?
The Earth is very beautiful, and each part of the Earth has its own distinct colors and characteristics. And you're right, we really can't see borders. At times you might be able to pick out a border, but it may be just because of the different way that they're using the land or the soil, so agricultural differences. But it definitely does make you aware that the Earth is a living thing. And I remember Kathy Thornton, former astronaut, who always said that we always talk about having to take care of the earth, but really we need to take care of the earth because of us. We really need to take care of ourselves. In taking care of the earth, we take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of the earth, then we're not going to survive as a species.
Guys, we've got a question for Commander Onufrienko, and we've got a translator here who's going to help me with the question. I'd like to ask Yuri, when he was training in the military to become an officer and a pilot, did you imagine, Yuri, that you would ever be in space with two Americans?
Back then it was pretty difficult to imagine, but things are changing pretty rapidly, and they're going to continue to change 15, 20, 30 years from now, and until we reach a planet of some sort, Mars, any other planet. So that's where we're hoping to end up.
Last question for you. What do our listeners need to know in order to get more connected, more excited about the work that you guys are doing up there?
One of the ways is NASA has a website. They've been posting a lot of the pictures that we take from space on that website. One of the things that I think a lot of times people miss is just the international aspect of space right now. To me, I think that's one of the biggest leaps forward that we've done, because I think the beginning of the space program was born out of competition, and now I think really the way to grow, and for the whole planet to grow in so many ways, is going to be in the spirit of cooperation. And I think a lot of people just miss that when they start thinking about the, it's in the name International Space Station, but for some reason I think it's one of the biggest achievements of the International Space Station is how closely we're working together with Russia and all the other countries as part of this program.
Thank you guys so much for being with us. That's the International Space Station. Really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us here in eTown.
It's been our pleasure, eTown.
Alpha, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, eTown. Alpha, we are resuming Station 1.
If you get a chance, you can see video of my conversation with these astronauts in 2002. It's pretty cool. At one point, there was a guitar pick in between the strings of a guitar that they had, and because they're weightless in space, the guitar pick came loose and started just floating around until the Russian astronaut grabbed it. It's a cool video if you can find it on YouTube. Up next, we are very lucky in Colorado to have so many talented singers and songwriters. Here is a song from 2024, pretty recent, from our friend Gregory Alan Isikoff.
She's waving high, her other hand's in mine. Oh, silhouette, she's growing tall and fine. She's got my back, she'll follow me down every street, no matter what my crime. All inside our Amsterdam howling wind, she'll take everything, she's easy on the eye. someplace. Well, we ache to come home somehow.
That's Gregory Alan Isakoff live on stage at eTown. Now we're going to go back in time to 2001. This was just a wonderful opportunity to have the legendary Buddy Guy on stage at eTown. So he and I have a little conversation, and then he's going to play a song. And after that, we're going to go directly into a song from Brandi Carlile, recorded at Red Rocks in 2012. So here's our next set of music, Buddy Guy, followed by Brandi Carlile.
You made the long train ride, September 57, up to Chicago. That must have been another...
September 25th, 1957.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was good enough to be a guitar player, to be answering questions for you now, but I was fortunate enough to meet the great Muddy Waters, the Howlin' Wolf, and all those people who taught us everything we know about.
Yeah. Those cutting contests must have been pretty fierce, too, where they have several guitarists trying to kind of just win the prize at the end of the night.
The best I ever seen. A lot of them passed away. The greatest guitar I ever saw play was the late, great Earl Hooker with sliding fingers, man. You know, I mean, I wish he could have...
He could do it all. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You know about it.
I've heard him, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you should have seen him. He made me and B.B. King cry one night, man, just watching.
Welcome back from Chicago, Illinois, Silvertone recording artist, Mr. Buddy Guy.
Just waiting for you, baby. I got something on my shoulder. Shucks. I got something on my shoulder. Just waiting for you, baby. Hey!
Around here, it's the hardest time of year. Waking up, the days are even gone. Will the color on my coat, Lord, have me killing off the cold? Will the raindrops sting my eyes or keep them closed? I'm feeling no pain, only the lonely, my quietest friend. Have all the moonlight, have I let you in? Say it ain't so, say I'm happy again. And say it's over, say I'm dreaming, say I'm better than you left me. Say you're sorry, I can take it. Say you wait, say you won't, say you love me, say you don't. I can make my own mistakes and let it bend before it breaks. I'm alright, don't I always seem to be? I'm not swinging on the stars, all I wear I'm on my sleeves. The way you're looking for crossroads, it happens every day. And whichever way you turn, I gotta turn the other way. And say it's over, say I'm dreaming, I'm better than you left me. Say I'm sorry, I can take it. Say you wait, say you won't, say you love me, say you don't. I can make my own mistakes. Learn to let it bend before it say it's over, say I'm dreaming, I'm better than you left me. Say you're sorry, I can take it. Say you wait, say you won't, say you love me, say you don't. I can make my own mistakes. Let it bend before it breaks.
That's Brandi Carlile live at Red Rocks back in 2012 from the eTown archives. Brandi has been such a good friend to eTown. She came earlier in her career, and she's been coming back since. Congratulations to her on so many fronts for being so successful. We will be back with more, including my conversation with the legendary Jane Goodall, after a short break.
Your visit to eTown is made possible in part by the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District, or SCFD, one of the largest cultural funding mechanisms in the United States, supporting nearly 300 organizations in the greater Denver area. As a reminder, for your viewing pleasure, there are over 2,000 videos on the eTown YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe in order to stay up to date with our latest offerings. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. I'd like to say hello to our listeners who are hearing eTown on stations like KDTR of Trail 103.3 in Missoula, Montana, on KENW in Portales, New Mexico, and on KEOS in Bryan, Texas. Thanks for listening. If you want some more information about any of the things we're up to here at eTown and eTown Hall, lots of information is online at etown.org. We are continuing with our 35th anniversary celebration of eTown. It gives us a chance to dive deep into the eTown archives and find some things that really have not been heard in many years. In this next segment of the show, we are going to feature some guests who are no longer with us, remarkable voices that haven't been heard in many years. That includes music from Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys, a song from John Prine, a song from Pop Staples. But up first, a part of my conversation with the legendary naturalist, scientist, and advocate for all things natural. Here's a part of my conversation with Dr. Jane Goodall. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I'm really amazed by your determination, particularly when you first decided to go to Africa, and you were in your early 20s. And where do you think that determination, that interest came from?
Well, it started when I was a tiny little girl, loving every little thing that crept and crawled, and being so fascinated by animals, and having a wonderful mother who supported this passion and wanted to go to Africa ever since I fell in love with Tarzan when I was 11. And, you know, he's got that wimpy wife, Jane, and I was incredibly jealous. And I thought I'd have been a much better mate for Tarzan myself, which I would have been.
I loved the Gary Larson Far Side cartoon in which the two chimps are sitting on the tree branch grooming each other as they do, and one pulls off a long blonde hair and turns to the other and says, conducting a little more research with that Jane Goodall tramp. That's sort of the ultimate compliment, probably, to be immortalized in that way.
And he came to Gombe, you know, and he was very nervous because he'd heard this rumor that I hated the cartoon. So he thought, you know, what's Jane going to say? Because I loved the cartoon.
And it took you a long time once you got there and once you were sort of established in your camp, found the chimpanzees, but it wasn't easy for them to accept you. It took a year and a half almost, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Before most of them would let me come near. They were terrified. But it was one amazing individual, David Greybeard, who lost his fear before the others. So instead of running off, he would sit and watch me, and then the others wouldn't run off either. And so he sort of introduced me to these amazing beings and really opened a window into the world of the forest.
But it was not all sort of warm and fuzzy either. I mean, there were some really the cases of brutal aggression and...
No, it was a shock. to first realize that as well as this gentle, peaceful side, like us, they have a brutal side. But, some of the similarities, like when they greet, they kiss, embrace, hold hands, pat one another on the back. When they're angry, they swagger and punch and kick and bite. They do so many things like us and in the same context.
Mm-hmm. And I do think you're right. You said it earlier that the kinds of observations you've made have helped us find a connection to our place in nature, our place in the natural world.
Every individual, every one of us matters and has a role to play and makes a difference. I mean, you can't actually live through a day without changing the world around you. And we all have a choice. What sort of difference do we want to make?
Yeah.
All around the world, people are realizing there really are environmental problems and social injustices. And I know we're greedy, and I know we read about war, and I know that most of the media talks about all the bad things. But there's an awful lot of good happening, and we must get that out, and that's the kind of thing your show can do.
Well, thank you, Jane. Thank you so much for being here, too. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on a life of great work.
Dr. Jane Goodall, live on stage at eTown. What an honor to have her with us. This next segment is going to feature a couple of songs from American legends. Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys. Ralph was just such a distinctive singer, an absolute legend in bluegrass music. But before that, we're going to hear from John Prine. John wrote a lot of songs that are well-known and sort of instilled into the American songbook. We discovered a song in the archives that didn't make the original cut when we edited the show for broadcast. This is a song that John wrote with Peter Case. It's funny, typical John Prine, and we're so happy to be able to share it with you now. Live from the eTown stage back in 1996, here's John Prine.
Thank you very much. This is a song I wrote in my kitchen with Peter Case. We said we were going to get together, so Peter came over one day, and we're sitting around the kitchen, and we thought maybe we'd write a 3-chord love song. But instead we wrote this song about a monkey that the Russians put into space in the 50s. They forgot about him, and he didn't come down till the 90s when there wasn't any Soviet Union as we know it. So he had a lot of time up there twirling around in the darkness, and when he got back home, at the very least, he was expecting maybe a parade or something, as any of us would. This is called a Space Monkey. Space monkey, what you doing up there? Why, it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. Come gather around me, you little monkeys, and a story I'll tell about a brave young primate. Outer space knew him well. He was born at the top of a big old tree way back in 1953. He could swing through the jungle and hang by his toes till they took him to Russia, 'cause they could, I suppose. Dressed him up in a spacesuit and it started to snow. Shot him off in a rocket where no man would go. Space monkey, what you doing up there? Why, it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. No a hammer or a sickle, you'll be there all alone. He had plenty of Cuban bananas and loads of Spam, but he found great difficulty trying to open the can. One day he slipped on a banana peel and the ship lost control. It spun out of orbit and shot out the black hole. It's been 4 decades now. That's 9 monkey years. That's a long time for a space monkey to confront all his fears. Space monkey, what you doing out there? Why, it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. No a hammer or a sickle, you'd be there all alone. That guitar solo was supposed to indicate a passage of time. Space monkey, it's time to get real. The space race is over. How does it feel? Cold War's had a heat wave, our curtains torn down. They've rolled up the carpet in Space Monkey Town. Now Leningrad is Petersburg, and Petersburg's hell for a card-carrying monkey with a story to tell. The space monkey was reportedly last sighted about a half a block off a Red Square in a karaoke bar, having a few drinks with some of his old friends. There was the dog that flew Sputnik, and a blind, red-headed, one-legged parrot who had done some minor research for Dow Chemical. They were drinking American vodka, imported all the way from Paducah, Kentucky, and reportedly had their arms around each other's shoulders, if parrots have shoulders, singing, "Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. Space monkey, there's nothing to do, but it's better than living in a communist city. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. And no a hammer or a sickle, you'll be there all alone." Space monkey.
Welcome back, one of our musical heroes, Dr. Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys.
Thank you. Now I want to do you an old timer I've been singing about all my life. Pretty Polly. Polly, pretty Polly, would you take me unkind? Polly, pretty Polly, would you take me unkind? You just sit beside me and tell me you're mine. Well, my mind is to marry, never to part. My mind is to marry and never to part. First time I saw you, wounded my heart. Led her over mountains and valleys so deep. He led her over mountains and valleys so deep. Polly mistrusted and then began to weep, saying, "Willie, little Willie, I'm afraid of your way. Willie, little Willie, I'm afraid of your way. The way you've been rambling, you lead me astray." Pleading for her life. She knelt before him a pleading for her life. Let me be a single girl if I can't be your wife. Well, Polly, pretty Polly, that never can be. Polly, pretty Polly, that never can be. Your past reputation and trouble to me. what did he say? He went to the jailhouse and what did he say? Kill pretty Polly and trying to get away. Hey, hey, hey.
That's Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys with Pretty Polly, the classic murder ballad. Ralph gave it a kind of a trick ending, singing the lowest note I've ever heard him sing. Ralph had a great sense of humor despite the morbid song selection. We were lucky enough to spend a bunch of time on the road with Ralph and the Clinch Mountain Boys over the years. But anyway, we are coming to the end of part 2 of our 35th anniversary celebration. As I said at the top, it's kind of all over the map. There's so many different styles of music, so many different voices, so many different artists that we got to feature, plus some remarkable conversations. We are amazed and honored by all the visits we've gotten over the years from so many talented people. I also want to say thanks to the staff at eTown who's worked hard, many of whom have been there for a long, long time. And of course, all the engineers who helped preserve and protect this material so we could dip in from time to time and share these gems with you. I want to say special thanks to Helen Forster and to Todd Ayers who put this show together. We're going to leave you with a segment from one of my absolute heroes, Pop Staples, the patriarch of the Staples singers, Mavis Staples' father. Pops was obviously very active in the civil rights movement, marching and singing with Dr. Martin Luther King, absolutely passionate. He brought his family with him. He stood for what he believed in, and he fought for what he believed in, and he sang about what he believed in, and he wrote songs about what he believed in. He was just such an amazing American musician, and we were honored to have him on our show a couple of times. Here's a part of my onstage conversation with Pop Staples from back in 1994. And then after that, we'll leave you with a song that Pops led us in. The house band, Hazel Miller, all of us got to sing along with Pops leading the way on the classic I Shall Not Be Moved. I'm Nick Forster. I hope you can be with us next week right here in eTown.
Well, folks, Pop Staples is still here with us. One of my kids recently brought back from high school a copy of Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. I was just kind of impressed by the fact, first of all, that kids are paying attention to this thing because it seems like, I don't know.
Yeah, but you look at a young man like you, young family. They said that a man not supposed to cry, but when your little girl brought that back there to me, my eyes almost started leaking, I'm telling you. Yeah. Now you can talk.
Well, no, I was just going to say that maybe it's just because you are a dad, because you have 5 kids. But you've been paying a lot of attention to what's going on in the schools and what needs to change out there. And you've been going out and talking to young people, haven't you?
Right. I've been going out telling them what I think. I ain't got no sense. But some of you educated people, PhDs and all that, know everything. But I got sense enough to know this world is turning so fast. I got sense enough to know if we don't stop and start training our children and letting them learn, some other country gonna come over and take us over because we won't even know how to talk. If we keep on going like we're going in a bad way, we're in treacherous times right now. Every mother and father, Audrey, if you don't mind me saying this, should try to teach your children. You try to tell that child yourself something about them, what they should be. Yeah. Some people be hurt about their children. I was talking to a lady just a few days ago, and these are the words that she said. If you see my child somewhere, as you travel here and there, You know I'm waiting for my child to come home. Somebody's waiting. Let that child come on home, forgive somebody. Still love those children. I don't care how the abuse, much abuse you say what they're getting, somebody still love their children. I don't want... I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I shall not. Well, I shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. I shall not be moved. On my way to glory, I shall not be moved. On my I shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water. Did I shall I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. Oh, yes, sir, and I shall not be moved.
This is a production of eTown.